This is Lee Enox, and this is the Lee Enox Show on Casual Sunday. This is my 130th episode of my podcast for KNT Radio. I'm so thankful for the radio station for being there for me to be able to do this weekly podcast. As you can tell, I am dressed pretty casually. Usually I wear a tie, I'm dressed in my little monkey suit, but today it's casual Sunday. And we're just going to take it easy today, talk about a couple things, talk about the New York Knicks, who just won their first championship in 53 years, talk about Donald Trump's birthday. He's 80 years old today. And there is a cage fight, and a mixed martial arts cage fight at the White House today. How do I feel about that as an American? Is this denigrating the austerity, the prestige of the White House? Or is this something that is justifiable by Trump? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about political philosophy, the war in Iran. There's supposed to be a ceasefire going on. We'll see about that. Anyways, congratulations to the New York Knicks. And that is why I'm wearing the New York Yankee baseball cap today. Many of you might not know this, but I have been a lifelong Yankee fan as far as I can remember. I love the New York Yankees. Since Reggie Jackson hit a home run, actually 3 home runs in the last game of the 1977 World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers, I have been a true blue Yankee fan. And another team that I've always appreciated, who have not been that good over the last several years, is the New York Knicks. I used to love the New York Knicks when I was a kid, especially when they had Bernard King. I remember one year Bernard King averaged 34 points. He was a devastating scorer for the Knicks, and then he had a bad knee injury. Still made it Hall of Fame, though. New York Knicks superstar Bernard King. And then later they had Patrick Ewing. But I grew up with the legacy in the shadow of the New York Knicks when they had Earl of Pearl Monroe and Bill Bradley and Phil Jackson, Clyde DeGlide, Frazier. They were an incredible team back in the 70s. You'll see Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler and several players, several famous celebrities following the Knicks these days. Ben Stiller has been a follower of the Knicks like Spike Lee for many, many, many years, many decades. I have been a true sports fan my whole life. My youngest days, I followed teams, and I always appreciated the Knicks, and I want to congratulate the Knicks fans for their championship. On this casual Sunday, the 14th of June, the 130th episode, do you know what it takes to do 130 episodes of a podcast? Man, I have done this show in different iterations for years, even before these last 5 years. But think about that. For me to do a show every single week, almost every single week, it's taken a lot of effort, and I'm thankful for it. And so on this 130th episode, I want to bring up the fact that Donald Trump turned 80 years old today. 80 years old. Incredible. Trump has been part of American culture for as long as I can remember, he has been embedded at the forefront of popular American culture, from being a celebrity, um, real estate tycoon, owner of the New Jersey Generals USFL football team, to owning casinos, um, being a controversial guest on shows like the David Letterman show. Um, Donald Trump has been part of American culture. And then he took it to a new level in the early 2000s on The Apprentice, which was the number one show on television. And then another iteration of that program called The Celebrity Apprentice. And then he also talked about politics, even in the 80s, early 90s. I remember he talked about, I guess there was a major assault or something of that nature that took place in the late 80s in Central Park. I think it was a Central Park 5. Trump made some comments about it. And then in the late 80s, he took out an ad in major newspapers, including the New York Times, to talk about how America is being ripped off. And he talked about protectionism even back in those days. Trump was formulating his own political philosophy. Trump has had a political philosophy for decades. It's not that he was like this celebrity who had an innocuous worldview. He was always for protectionism, tariffs, believed that America was being ripped off by different nations. In any event, happy birthday to Donald Trump. I haven't been as happy with Donald Trump this time around in his 47th iteration of his second term as our 47th president, as I was in his 45th president. It seemed like, despite the Russian collusion hoax and different things, it seemed like the economy is better then. And then COVID hit, and then eventually Joe Biden became president. We had this massive problem with immigration. It seemed like Donald Trump has done better than Biden. I think Biden let in anywhere between 6 and 12 million illegal, non-documented individuals into the United States. Trump has done good in immigration, despite some stuff with ICE. Wasn't very appreciative of what happened in Minnesota earlier this year. Have not been happy at all about the war in Iran. Donald Trump specifically campaigned against going into wars like this. So it's been a really hard time for me. I'm generally very supportive of Trump. I don't agree with many of the comments he makes on X, formerly known as Twitter. But, on his 80th birthday, this day of days for him, I want to wish him a happy birthday. And I want to thank and congratulate the New York Knicks for their championship. Tonight, on his 80th birthday, Donald Trump is having a mixed martial arts event at the White House. The cage has been made. I guess they're calling the Claw. Dana White's there. It's happening pretty soon. I think as I talk right now, the event is getting ready to take place. It might even have started because it's on the East Coast in Washington, D.C. While I'm talking, another issue's come up, the issue of Brendan Sorsby, the incoming quarterback of Virginia Tech. Now, this is a major scandal, guys. a major scandal has broken out, an ethical scandal of unparalleled proportions has broken out at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas. Many of you know I live here in Texas now, outside the Dallas area, and I've been out here now for several years. I've lived most of my life, my adult life, in California, but came here to Texas, finished a degree in journalism at the University of North Texas later in life. Yes, those are all my degrees behind me here. And I'm currently working on a PhD. I write for different magazines and newspapers. But I want to talk about briefly about this major scandal that has broken out at Texas Tech University. It's insane, guys. Have you been following this at all? Insane. So Brendan Zorsby has been in the news. He is the quarterback of Texas Tech. Well, he's basically bounced around. At first he was at the University of Cincinnati before they became a championship level team. He was there at Cincinnati. Then he played. Actually, he was at Indiana. Then he went to Cincinnati. Just a lot of issues now, guys. It turns out he had a pretty good year for University of Cincinnati, and football is big business now with this NIL money that's coming in for a lot of these players. They say that Zorsby could make an estimated $2 million. The problem is he has made some major mistakes. Turns out Mr. Zorsby has an incredible story, and that he placed bets on his own team. So now there's an ongoing debate about gambling and athlete eligibility, and how the NCAA is going to protect the integrity of its competition. The controversy involving Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Zorsby illustrates the growing tension between athletic regulations, NIL money, and the influence of politics and money in college sports. In this case, college football. Reports indicate that Zorsby has had an extensive problem of sports betting, wagering several bets on his own team when he was playing for Indiana. Now, this has been a major issue. For decades, the NCAA has treated athlete gambling as one of the most serious infractions. And its rules say that if a student athlete bets on their own team, they're banned from football. So that's a major, major issue. So Zorsby has, I mean, it's incredible. The saga regarding 22-year-old Brendan Zorsby is an insane issue right now. He's an American college football quarterback for Texas Tech Red Raiders. He previously played for Indiana Hoosiers and the Cincinnati Bearcats, and he bet on his own team. They say that he made thousands of bets. In May of this year, a couple months ago, Zorsby admitted to placing over $90,000 in bets over 4 years. And he bet at least wagered on his own team at least 40 times, using friends and family gambling accounts to evade detection. He made at least 40 wagers on Indiana football or individual members of Indiana football team. Zorsby denies any allegations of point shaving where he his sports gambling has altered the scores of the games that he played in. Despite the fact that he checked himself into a sports gambling rehab center, the fact is he placed thousands of bets on sporting events using online betting apps against NCAA rules. Zorsby was denied his request for reinstatement and banned by the NCAA. However, a local Lubbock judge has granted an injunction allowing him to be able to play this year. Incredible. The NCAA denied Texas Tech's appeal for Zorsby reinstatement on June 5th. However, on June 8th, a Texas Tech or a Texas judge granted Zorsby an injunction against the NCAA, preventing the organization from punishing Zorsby for violating the association's anti-gambling rules. Per this ruling, Zorsby will be suspended for Texas Tech's first 2 games of the season, a punishment proposed by Zorsby's attorneys. Now, this is a crock of garbage, guys. Sports gambling has been an issue going back to the 1919 Black Sox scandal, in which Hall of Fame level player Joe Jackson and other players were banned lifetime from playing professional baseball. Pete Rose in 1989 was banned for life for placing bets, gambling on baseball. Gambling has been a major issue in sports since its inception. For example, there were point shaving scandals in basketball. Several players recently have been banned from the NBA due to gambling scandal. So this whole thing with Texas Tech, this judge Zorsby, stinks to high heaven, guys. The issue, guys, is this. How can we trust integrity of the game if we're going to allow a guy that's bet wagered thousands of dollars worth of bets on his own team? It turns out that this judge issued like just a few-page ruling allowing Zorsby to play. However, another issue is involved in it is that Attorney General Ken Paxton, who, by the way, is who just won the primary against John Cornyn, Ken Paxton's got involved in this. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton warned the Big 12 Conference that it would face over $200 million in antitrust liability if it sanctions Texas Tech for playing quarterback Brendan Zorsby. The NCAA banned Zorsby over a sports betting scandal, but a judge has blocked that ban. Like I said, the legal battle is that Zorsby admitted to placing at least $90,000 worth of bets, sports bets, against across multiple schools, including betting on his own team while playing for the University of Indiana Hoosiers. A Texas state judge issued an injunction allowing him to play for Texas Tech in the upcoming season, provided he sits out the first two games and continues treatment for a gambling disorder. Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas sent a formal letter to the Big 12. He argued that any sanctions against Texas Tech for complying with a valid court order will be an unlawful horizontal agreement among competitors to cut Texas Tech's resources off. Paxson warned the conference's members and the executive committee that any forfeiture of game cancellation resulting from sanctions would breach contracts and expose them to vast antitrust damages. The NCAA is appealing this judge's injunction, and we have a major scandal on our hands, folks. Texas Tech Red Raiders. And then the Attorney General of Oklahoma came out this past weekend. And he said the following. The Oklahoma Attorney General has spoken out against Texas Tech. He has said that this is a crock. This is unethical. He says that the continuing saga and constant posturing of Ken Paxton is irrelevant. Basically, he's arguing that the Attorney General of Oklahoma, Drummond, cited that Zorsby broke NCAA rules with wagering roughly $90,000 on sports across 4 years while attending 3 different schools. That's another issue. Why are these players transferring and just going from school to school? I guess it's due to this NIL money. Guys, this is a scandal. I listened to the athletic director and the president of Texas Tech explain why they're getting behind Zorsby and wanting him to play, and it's reeks. It's a scandal. This guy has bet on his own team. We cannot trust the integrity of the game if we allow a player like Zorsby. He bet on his own team. I know that in Texas, college football is a big thing now. But this is a major scandal. I don't care if Ken Paxton is supporting Zorsby. There's a lot of talk that the judge in Lubbock is not even on the bench now. The retired judge issued this injunction allowing him to play. The NCAA has appealed. Why are we defending a guy that bet on his own team? This is just what a crock. How does this ensure the integrity of college football? How? It's just, I'm really against this, guys. I'm just going to be honest. I follow sports my whole life. And there have been recent sports betting scandals that involved major federal investigations into point shaving rings and professional athletes manipulating game events for gambling payouts. There was an NCAA point shaving ring where federal prosecutors indicted 26 individuals, including over 36 active and former college basketball players from 17 Division I schools for a transactional scheme to fix at least 29 games during the 2023, 2024, and 2025 seasons. Players were allegedly paid $10,000 and $30,000 per game to manipulate point spreads. In Major League Baseball, Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were arrested and indicted for allegedly accepting bribes to intentionally throw rigged pitches during Major League games, allowing co-conspirators to place highly profitable prop bets. They're not even betting only on the final score now. Different pitches, counts, just all kind of things. There's also the case of Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, who was arrested and accused of conspiring with gamblers, mafia individuals to share insider information and purposely sit out a game or games to underperform to help criminal syndicates win bets. And now we have this issue of NCAA football player Brendan Zorsby, who was found to have placed nearly $90,000 in wagers, including bets placed on games he played in. Guys, I think there's a massive scandal going on in college football with Texas Tech University. I don't care what their athletic director, their assistant athletic director said. I don't care what their president said. This should not take place. Zorsby should be banned for life. I stand with Drummond of the University of, who's Oklahoma Attorney General. I think he's running for governor now, who has spoken out against the University of, Texas Tech University player Brendan Zorsby and that whole corrupt situation. Guys, college football is big business in the state of Texas and throughout America. And there is now a direct relationship between professional sports, college sports, and gambling. DraftKings you see these commercials all the time now. About, promoting gambling. DraftKings is an American gambling company based in Boston, Massachusetts. It offers sports books and daily fantasy sports service wagering. And there's a direct relationship. There's so much gambling going on. But we can't have players like Brendan Zorsby playing professionals or college football if they bet on their own teams. How do we ensure the integrity of the game? Guys, the integrity of the game. If he bet on his own team, there's got to be consequences for actions. There's got to be some kind of consequences. If a guy bets on his own team, he should not be able to play. I don't care. Guys, the bottom line is the reason why Texas Tech is the administration of Texas Tech is behind Zorsby is that he's a good college football. They have invested millions of dollars in that team, and there's a lot of NIL money involved in Zorsby, and basically it's corrupt. It's an ethical scandal of the highest proportion. It's occurring right now. There's even talk that some teams may forfeit their games against their Big 12 opponent, Texas Tech, because of the corruption involved here. This is a major issue, guys. Anyways, I made my point known. I just think there is a major ethical scandal occurring in college football today if we allow Brendan Zorsby to play. There's so much corruption, so much sports betting. Guys, the difference between mixed martial arts and wrestling is that the wrestling matches of these roided out wrestlers are predetermined. Mixed martial arts, from what I understand, is just two competitors going at it. The best competitor wins. If we start allowing players like Brendan Zorsby to play in college football, we risk undermining the integrity of the game, allowing known gamblers who have gambled on their own team to play. How do we know they're not still involved in gambling? Oh, just because Zorsby went to 35 days of rehab, now we're expected to believe that he's overcome this. It's all an ethical scandal. I think that Texas Tech administration should be ashamed of themselves. There is a scandal occurring at Texas Tech, and it stinks to high heaven. This has been Lee Enox, and this is Lee Enox Show for K&T Radio. You guys, I'm a Christian. I don't want to see sports undermine the United States. I believe in Jesus Christ, who died on a cross, was buried, rose again from the dead on the third day. If you're out there and you watch this, trust Christ today and be saved. I'm praying for the integrity of college football. Happy birthday to Donald Trump. Congratulations to the New York Knicks basketball team for winning their first championship in 53 years. And this has been Lee Enox for a Casual Sunday, signing out.